Valerie, and welcome to my tutorial on my faux fireplace mantle. I went to the Habitat for Humanity restore shop and found this bundle of assorted pieces of wood, and it was about $18. I also found 2 brackets that were about $1 a piece. The plywood that I have in the back is a scrap that I had in my garage. But if you were going to do it again, I would recommend getting it to the size that you want the whole fireplace to be in. That way everything attaches to that. So for future projects, I think I'm going to do 4x4 pieces of plywood. And so here is everything attached to the plywood. I also found this brick paneling at Home Depot and cut that to the size of the gap that was on the inside. There are those 2 brackets I found that were $1 a piece. I got 2 different types of trim. This rope trim here. And I also found a piece of scalloped trim that you'll see in a little bit. I bought these picture hanging brackets that I mounted to the back that attaches. It'll attach the mantle to the wall so that it doesn't tip. The scrap that's at the top as the shelf is just leftover from cutting one of those pieces. Here is some spackling for doing a German schmear technique. Here on the paneling, I took the spackling and would just scrape it with my putty knife onto it and then scraped it off. It filled in all of the grout lines and covered the brick with it so that it looked like antique brick. I loved how it turned out. I apologize I didn't have any video of me doing the technique. I was a little over eager with my editing. On here I noticed that it looked a little plain. I kind of already knew that I was going to add some molding to it, and since working with the molding when I was doing the plates, I don't know if you've checked out that video when I did a Dollar Tree charger redo. I added some molding to it and decided I was going to do that to this as well. Here I am I'm getting my mold ready to add to the backdrop of my fireplace mantle. I'm using the laurel wreath on this mold design. I don't off the top of my head remember the name of it, but I will find out and link it below. I'm also going to use the rooster mold on it as well. One of the tips they give you is to use some cornstarch. Just sprinkle a little bit in your mold before you put your paper clay in, and it helps it release better with all of the detail in it. I don't think that I did that with this one. I'm not sure. I didn't have any issues removing the molding from it, but I've used it before, and it could just be because I already had some in there. As you can tell, some of the items still have some residue left over, so that could be why I didn't have any issues removing it. But I use a little scraper tool. I think this might have even been the same one I used when I put the German schmear on the brick. I don't think so, but it could have been. When you play with this paper clay, it's just so easy. Or it's either paper clay or air dry clay. It gets easier. It's always intimidating to start a project, but then you get the hang of it. I had all the supplies that I needed for this project sitting in my garage, and I just thought, it's not going to do itself. So I just got on it. I kept looking at my mantle knowing that it was almost Christmas time, and I wanted a place to hang my stockings. So that's what I did. I just said, okay, let's just do this. And in the course of 2 days, I had it done, and mostly because I needed to let some things dry before I got to them. But the spackling dried pretty quickly. that didn't take paint over the top of it, but I was able to just tape that stuff off when I painted. I know it looks like I'm just playing with this clay. I'm actually just kind of trying to warm it up a little bit so it's not so stiff. I've had this clay for a few months now, and I had already opened the package. So certain parts of the little brick of clay get a little stiff. They popped out really easily. You know, when I first started doing that, I was so gentle with it, but you really don't need to be. I don't know whether it's because my clay was a little stiff or not, but they came out really well. This other mold, you can tell I don't have any cornstarch in it. And I don't think that I put any on here for this. I just kind of put the clay in and popped it out, and it worked fine. I'll put links to all of these products that I've used. I attached it to the back of the, I attached it to the mantle with E6000. And used painter's tape, as you'll see in a minute, to just stick it on there while the glue dried. There's some spots that I didn't get or that I pulled off when I cut off the clay. So I just filled it in. And it came out really nice with all the detail in it. Here you see I'm just moving some of that painter's tape that I had put up there just so that it didn't get in the way of the molding. And I probably should have marked where the center was, but this was for me, and so I kind of eyeballed it. And I did a pretty good job at eyeballing it. I think it looks good. However, on the brackets when I hung them, I mean, you can tell just from looking up here, they're a little off. But it's all painted the same color, and so I can't tell. And since, like I said, it was for me, I'm not too picky. If it was someone else I was doing it for, I would have measured and made sure that the molding was in the center and then the brackets were perfectly straight. I used painter's tape, I don't know if I mentioned this, to just hold the molding in place while the glue dries behind it. Here's the second part of that wreath. You'll see it start to slide while I'm getting my tape ready. But, you know, it holds up pretty well. That painter's tape holds it in place. I wasn't too concerned with glue showing from underneath it because I'm going to paint the whole thing anyway. friend mentioned this, but I put that lattice trim underneath just as a little detail. And then I let these pieces dry. I want to say I'd let it dry overnight before I started to paint. This is the next morning. It looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. Here we are with the first coat of paint on. I really had only a little bit of white paint and some brown paint, and I mixed them up together, and this is what I came up with. I kind of liked it, but it blended too much in with the wall color, so I covered it with brown. And I was hoping that once I got the brown on, I could distress it and you'd see the white through. And I think it looks pretty good. It turned out really nice, and it blends more in with my furniture and the other furnishings I have. And shortly you'll see it dressed up for the holidays. If you like this project and would like to see more, make sure you give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe. And the notification button so you'll get notified anytime I have another video. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.